This is kind of what the psalmist is doing. Look at verse 1. He says, God is our refuge and strength. And I love that. He starts with God. He starts with the strong tower. God is our strong tower. God is our refuge and strength. Always ready to help in times of trouble. Everyone say trouble. This word trouble describes people in a tight place. Nod your heads if you've been in a tight place. Nod your heads if you're in a tight place in your life right now. Maybe things are tight with your finances. Maybe things are tight with a relationship. I don't know. Like, we know what it means. We know what it feels like to have our backs up against the wall, right? Nowhere to go, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. This is what the psalmist is describing. He said, God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help when your back's up against the wall, always ready to help when you're in a tight spot, always ready to help when you're being crushed by the weight of all of the things that are happening around you that you have absolutely no control over. God is always ready to help. Look at your neighbor and say, God's ready to help you. Some of you are just like, no, look at your neighbor. Look at him and say, God is ready to help you. God's ready to help you. So look at this, verse 2. So I love this. Verse 2. So we will not fear when. Everyone say when. Now shout it. When. We will not fear when earthquakes come and the mountains crumble into the sea. You see what's happening here? The psalmist is describing like Armageddon. He's describing this apocalyptic scene where the whole entire world is in chaos. It's all falling apart. All of the mountains are crumbling. The waves the mountains are falling into the sea. The earthquakes are swallowing up everything. But I'm not going to be afraid. Verse 3, let the oceans roar in foam. Let them roar. Let them foam. Let the mountains tremble as the waters surge. You see, the chaos in your life is inevitable. The pain in your life is inevitable. The crap that you let build up in your heart, it's inevitable because you're human. You've got to figure out, though, where do you go? Where do I go when the inevitabilities of life are crushing me? This is what the psalmist is telling us. He says, God is a strong tower. 500 years ago, Martin Luther, the father of the Protestant Reformation, he wrote a hymn called "A Mighty Fortress is Our God," based on this psalm. A mighty fortress is our God, a bulwark never failing. Literally, a mighty fortress is an unshakable or immovable castle. When your earth is being shattered and when your life is falling apart and when you've got so much stuff piling up in you that you're just being crushed beneath the weight of it, you have a strong tower. And his name is God. His name is Jesus, and he is mighty to save. He saved you for eternity, and he can save you from that Pico bill. He can do it because he is Jesus. I mean, I love what the psalmist said. The psalmist was like let the inevitable mountains tremble. I'm not going to be weighed down by the stress and the anxiety of the inevitable clutter that's piling up in my life. I'm going to run to my strong tower. Did you notice that he doesn't even deal with the crumbling mountains? He just looks up, looks to his strong tower, and that's where he's going. That's where his refuge is. He'll let God deal with the mess. He'll let God deal with the clutter. He'll let God deal with the mountains. After all, he's the one that made them. He'll let God deal with the oceans. After all, he's the one who created it. What if we got in the habit of running to our strong tower? I mean, friends are great. You need them. But they're shakeable. They're movable. Parents are great. I've blessed to grow up in a wonderful, loving home with two great parents. But they're shakeable. They're movable. They're not a mighty fortress. They're not an immovable castle. They're not an eternal refuge. But my God is. And you can release your grip on whatever it is crushing you this morning, because He is a strong tower. You can trust Him. You can stop fighting the inevitable chaos of life. You can find a place in Acme where there's a little spot carved out just for you. You can sit and take it easy. I mean, wouldn't it be something if we stopped fighting our own battles and let God fight them for us? All we have to do is run to this mighty fortress. No matter how chaotic your world may become or how cluttered your heart might be right now, God's strong tower reminds us that He is a source of peace. Whenever we run to Him, we can find love. Whenever we run to His mighty fortress, that's where we get the power that we need to get through life.